Good evening, everybody. This is the Force Report on YouTube, here with the first ever Random Review Monday. What is Random Review Monday? Well, I looked in my cupboard where I store everything, and I had a mountain of Star Wars figures that I've picked up everywhere, flea markets, old toy store, things that I've just never opened, things that I thought I needed, but turns out I didn't really need. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with them. Well, the answer is Random Review Monday. They're taking up too much space, carded like this. I have no reason to keep them carded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one at random. They range from Power of the Force. We have some Episode 1 in there. Some Power of the Jedi, some Saga Collection, things like that. Range all the way up to Force Awakens and Rogue One stuff, but we probably won't be doing those. But a bunch of older action figures, so I thought what better way to get some content for the channel and also get some figures out of their cards and get them into a little better storage area than to just review them. Why not? Give us a chance to look at some cool figures we might have forgotten about, or we might have never knew existed, because we started collecting at one point in our lives or another. So what we have here for our first, I guess the inaugural Random Review Monday is Gallia from the Star Wars Episode 1 line. This was a pretty crazy line if you were a collector back then, if you were a Star Wars fan back then. It was the first movie line to come out in quite some time. There was a mad rush to get these figures. There was a mad rush to get that guy right there, Darth Maul. I know he was very popular. I was very young. I was about 8 or 9 when this movie came out, but I remember these being on the shelves, and I remember buying them. My first Episode 1 figure was actually Watto, of my own choosing. I had a choice of basically any figure that was on the shelf, and I chose Watto. He might even be on the back here. No, it doesn't look like it. I had a Ki-Adi-Mundi. I have that Mace Windu, but in the Power of the Force sneak preview line, we'll bust him out. And I definitely had a battle droid. I don't think it was OOM9. He's the commander, but I definitely had battle droids. I never had the Comtech thing, though, but I had a bunch of the chips. But what we have here is Gallia. What's interesting about this character is, one, she's a female Jedi, and when Episode 1 came out, we didn't know that there could be female Jedi. We knew Leia was strong in the Force, but she certainly wasn't a Jedi in this regard like she is. And the other cool thing is that she's got that cool red lightsaber, that crimson lightsaber, which everybody sees and thinks bad guy, but no, she just happens to have this this crimson lightsaber. She's a playable character in the cool Episode 1 video game Jedi Power Battles, and she kind of holds her lightsaber in the reverse grip, kind of like Ahsoka Tano. And I always played as her. She was my favorite character. That and Plo Koon with his cool yellow lightsaber. I picked this up at Big Fun in Columbus, Ohio. They have tons of cool old vintage toys. Shameless plug for them, a little free advertising. But that is where the vast majority of these random review figures will come from. Pick them up there on the cheap. So let's go ahead and bust her open. We'll see what we got. So we've got her cut open, I think, enough to get her kind of open right here. You know, I was opening this, and it's really strange to think that this was created and molded and packaged and put in a box and driven to a store and put on a shelf and was bought and sold and everything. And she's been in this package since 1999, and that just kind of blows my mind that this has been sealed for that long. Obviously, there are figures out there that are much older that are still sealed. Everybody's got the Kenner stuff that are still sealed. It's been much longer, but it's just kind of a cool thing to think about. There's the cool Comtech chip, and when this thing came out, and my friends had these, and I had a couple of these, I thought these were the coolest thing ever. And it was always cool to see your friends that had ones that you didn't have, and you could kind of see new faces and new phrases on the back and the number. I'm not sure if that is her actual number. The only thing that says along the bottom there is collection 3. I'm not sure if they were ever numbered like that, but that might be the way they are. I never had the reader, like I said before. I know a lot of people use these as dog tags, and they put a little chain on them and wore them like that and kind of collected them that way. But cool there. It's a cool little hollow that she's got. Onto the figure itself. Smaller figure. The lightsaber out here. It's taped in with a single piece of tape. There we go. So she's a smaller figure, obviously, or smaller frame. The cloak is nice and flexible. Sometimes you get those cloaks on the Jedi figures or other figures that are a little too stiff, and you can either wear them and standing and they can not move at all, or they're the cloth ones and they look a little bulky. But this one's got a nice feel to it. It's nice and flexible. It's a good color too. It contrasts well with her tunic there. And there's a nice little hole. It's closed off, but there's a hole so her arm can still fit through it there. But here we have the regular Jedi robes and boots with her headdress. A lot of people mistake her character for Stas Ali, but they are of the same species, but they are not the same character. But, and this might just be me just off the top of my head, I think they're related or from the same family or something like that, but two different characters. Gallia is also playable. She's one of the main characters in Jedi Starfighter, which is also a very, very good game. And she is featured in the Clone Wars. She gets some action in there, and she dies by General Grievous's hand. Spoiler alert. She looks good here. She can hold the lightsaber well. She's got a swivel elbow, so she's not going to be posed in a lot of action poses, but that's okay since she doesn't really do a whole lot in the films. But it looks good here. Her lightsaber is a really good color. It looks just a tad long, but no worries about that. It's not as long as some of those Power of the Force action figures. Let's see how she stands. We're going to pose her real quick. Get her legs right here. She stands well. Shoulders. Swivel elbow again. Get her feet right. She can stand like that. Take the lightsaber out. This is how she typically holds it when she's in Jedi Power Battle. She holds it with that reverse grip, which I think is pretty cool. It reminds me of Ahsoka Tano. Or I guess Ahsoka Tano reminds me of Gallia. Put her hand back in there. The robe on. Kind of gives her a little more balance there. She's a little heavier. But she looks good. Overall, I would give this figure about an 8 out of 10, I would say, and that's just kind of an arbitrary number. I just thought of that. I like the sculpt. When I was reading about this figure, I've seen some of them that have her eyes are like she has this deer in the headlight look. Her eyes are really wide open, but this one seems to be okay. She's got a little bit of a lazy eye due to the paint applications, but at least they're not popping out wide like that. Everything else looks good. There's some good detail on the headdress there. And then, of course, her lightsaber. It's a pretty common hilt style. You see that in a lot of other figures. And then the crimson blade. And then a close-up of her flexi molded cape. Now, Gallia appeared one other time in figure form. She was included in a Jedi Council set. When they did I guess they were called then, or were eventually called the cinema scenes. She was included with the young Anakin Skywalker and a Sassy Tin, however you prefer to be calling it. It had 2 chairs and then the floor, and you connected them and made the whole Jedi Council scene. She did include the soft goods tunic from the waist down, and then she had articulated knees, so she could bend and actually sit in her chair. That's the only other action figure of Gallia we have. But this is a good one. I definitely recommend, if you find her on eBay or something like that, you're looking just for some Jedi, if you're a fan of Jedi figures, definitely pick her up. She's a good one. look for more random review Mondays. Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to do them every Monday. It definitely will be on a Monday, though. There's definitely enough figures here to get that going every month for quite a while. There, I have so many, and I'm at Big Fun a lot. So if we're running low, I will definitely pick up some figures so we can keep Random Review Mondays going. Look for more content on my Instagram and here on YouTube, and thanks for tuning in.